So welcome back. I think this is where we stopped in the last lecture. So I briefly introduced the concept of histograms, right? So they are very useful, and from the histogram we can have a lot of inference, and based on that we can go and improve the image based on the operations purely on the intensity of the images, right? The point operations. Would like to introduce two fundamental concepts in this case. For example, thresholding. Okay, so this is a very standard operation. Okay, and as usual, let's represent this in terms of a input-output transfer function. Okay, so you have the input intensity on the x-axis and the expected output intensity on the y-axis. So this function is a simple thresholding. That means if the intensity is above some threshold t, okay, so if the intensity in the entire image, if the intensity is above certain threshold t, I will keep it. Okay, and I will put it across as 255. So anything greater than threshold t, this can be any number. Okay, for example, t is equal to 128. So that means any pixel intensity which is above 128 will be put to 255, and anything below 128 will be put to 0. It's as simple as a binary thresholding, right? Just like you create a binary image from an original image, so you decide a threshold, and based on that threshold, anything above you put it to 255, anything below you put it to 0. Okay. Again, the assumption here is 8-bit quantized. So this is applicable to any bit representation. If you assume it to be 8-bit unsigned representation, then if you put a threshold t, anything above will be put to 255, anything below t should be put to 0. And it can be nicely, concisely represented in a mathematical equation like this, right? If intensity I of xy is less than t, it will be put to 0. If it is greater than or equal to t, it will be put to 255. And output, definitely j will be a binary image. It will only have zeros and it will have 255, nothing in between, right? If we take the histogram of the output image, it will only have two peaks. One at 0, one at 255. It's very sure. Okay, let's take an example. Okay, so here is the CT image again of the head. Okay, so this is the original image, and if I take the histogram, it is something like this. Okay, so the histogram of this image is something like this. In fact, it is not a normalized histogram as you can see over here. It's quite a big number on the y-axis, so definitely it's not a normalized histogram. And here 0 to 255 as usual. Okay, so this distribution actually shows many things, right? Let's actually spend some time in understanding the histogram. Okay, lot of black shades, definitely. The background here is a lot of blackish region. So you can see over here the huge intensity. I don't know whether you can see it over. Let me just zoom in and see. So you can see over here there is a lot of intensity at the 0. It is understandable, right? Because the image has a lot of black background. And then you have some region here, which is the gray, almost like the grayish shade, right? That is this region, the entire region, which is actually a grayish shade. And you have a white bond structure here, which will come somewhere here. Okay. So this is interesting, right? So the image is really not something like a Gaussian distribution or a normal distribution. It is not having single peak. It has 3 peaks, in fact. One at 0, which is this background. One at around the grayish scale, which is the majority of it, right? You can understandably see that. And then something at the 255 level, which is the bond in this case. Now I'm going to give you something which is very interesting. Okay, suppose I want to segment the bone alone. Okay, I want to segment this bony structure from this image. It's very easy to do here because I have 3 distinct peaks and the distributions are concentrated around those peaks. So I can put a simple threshold. Okay, so something like this. So if I put a threshold here, okay, so this means I will take this image and I will consider anything above 150. If there is something above 150, I will put it to 255. Okay, so that's what happening here. So anything above 150, which is majorly here, concentrated here, that is kept to 255. And anything below that, okay, anything below 150, including this grayish region and the blackish region, is put to 0. And that is why you are seeing over here. And what I achieve here is by simple thresholding operation, I am able to segment the bone from the background. And this is heavily used. This looks very trivial, but this is heavily used, and I have seen there is one GE product actually purely based on this sort of stuff, thresholding on the histogram. Okay, of course some sophisticated operations will follow, but first step is obviously thresholding on the histogram. Okay, so let's see this in our example. So MATLAB is a very useful tool. I am sure Python will also have that similar. Okay, so let me read this image. uh, the CT image. Okay. Okay, and I have the CT facial bond. Okay, so that's the image. Don't worry, I will share all these images with you. Okay. So I just wanted to show you the image. How does it look like? Okay, it's popping up. So this is the image, original image. If you see the grayscale here, if I enable the color map, you will see the scale from 0 to 255. And you can see the size of the image is 630 into 630. So again going back, reiterating, 630 into 630 pixels are there throughout. Now there is an interesting, very interesting tool in MATLAB, which is IM tool, okay, of IMG. Okay, why it is interesting, I will show you. Okay, let it come. Okay, the tool has come. So if you see over here, nothing, you are not seeing any magic at this point. Okay, but there is a button here on this top. Okay, so adjust contrast. Okay, let's see. Click on that. You get a beautiful button, something like this. Okay, I mean beautiful window, something like this. So are you seeing this? I can actually now control the range, the dynamic range of this image. So it is as good as thresholding. Okay, now let me put it. I am going to really put it somewhere in the middle. That means anything below that is put to 0. Okay, so you see, image is changed. So I am only considering this region. This region is untouched. Anything below that is put to 0. Okay, so this is very useful tool. I can even increase it further and confine it to maybe exactly get the bond. Okay, it's really interesting, right? Okay, so this is the case. Maybe I will put the other way also, just to give a feel of it. Wow, so you can see many things. So you see saturation is happening, and even the gray is actually going. That means only this region is untouched. Remaining everything is actually put to 255. That is why the saturation effect is happening. Okay. So that's the thing. And now let me go back. So the thresholding operation is very simple, right? So you see the image and then you put an intensity and anything above. So let's do that also. Let me just take my own histogram. Okay, so I'm going to take the histogram, plot of H. Okay, this is our histogram code, if you see. So in fact this number is too high, right? So that is why this looks very small. So I'm going to use somewhere around 150. Okay, so anything above 150 I'm going to put as 1 or 255 rather, and anything below 2. So let's initialize one image. Okay. Okay, so I am initializing an unsigned 8 image which has size of image. Okay, so I initialize an image which has all zeros in it and unsigned in 8. Okay. So now let's actually do this operation. J of IMG greater than 150, right, is equal to 255, and J of this one less than, or it should have been another way, right? It should be greater than or equal. Okay, and then less than 150 should be 0. Now let me see what is picking up. You can see over here. That's the thresholding for you. So original image thresholded by 150. Anything above 150 put to 255. Anything below 150 put to 0. Okay, you thresholded the bone nicely, and you can increase the threshold and maybe narrow down the bone structure. Going back. Okay, so we already know this now, so it's quite straightforward. The other interesting operation. Okay, so this is also interesting. The other interesting operation is a digital negative. I would like to call it as digital negative because I am going to invert the image. So when I say inversion, what is exactly the meaning of it? It exactly means that in the original, so again this is a transfer function. So the input axis, the input intensity is on the x-axis and the output intensity is on the y-axis. So if you observe here, the zeroth intensity in the input is mapped to 255. And 255th intensity in the input is mapped to 0. Okay, so if you see the scale here, maybe those who are confused, let me just use the pen. Okay, So what exactly I mean is this is the zeroth intensity, right? Zeroth intensity in the input, it is mapped to 255. And similarly the 255th value, this is on this axis I am saying, is mapped to 0. In this direction it is mapped to 0. Or you take any other value. I think the middle value anyway remains doesn't change. Let's take this value. Okay. I'm just guessing. Okay, some value 20, let's say, and that is mapped to very close to 255. So let's say 235. Just because this division is 20, so this division has to be remaining 20. So 235. So you see, 20 was a low value. In the output, it became a high value. And similarly here, if I take, let's say this is 235, that should be mapped to 20 in the output. So 235 in the input image becomes 20 in the output image. And the expression for this is this one. So I of xy is the input image. So j of xy is nothing but max of I of xy. It is 255 or whatever maximum intensity in I of xy minus I of xy. That's what you do that, right? So everything will be inverted. Basically your low value gets mapped to high value gets mapped to low value. Okay, again assumption in this particular transfer function, my assumption is 8-bit unsigned image. Okay, let's take an example so it becomes very clear. Okay, so this is the original image, again our CT facial bone image, our friend. Okay, and I'm going to do exactly the digital negative operation. I will get this. Okay, so you may ask me what is the advantage here. Okay, maybe I am just making up things here. You see this region, this particular region over here, it's not very clear when it is in this image, right? But when is this bright, it becomes clearer for us. What is the reason? Again going back to the eye. Okay, our photopic vision is having a much better discriminatory range compared to the scotopic region, and scotopic is generally associated with the darkish or the black region associated with it, right? Okay, so this is also very, very powerful. Okay, so we studied about two simple operations. One is actually basically what thresholding, right? The other one is just taking negative itself will change our intuition. I'm sure, I mean, even other regions also, probably some regions became more clearer in this case compared to this case. Okay, so extremely useful many times. Now another very simple operation. Okay, and this is something which you might have thought about when I introduced some image like this, something like which is grayish but low contrast image like this, and histogram looks like this. You might have thought that one straightforward approach, if I give such an image and histogram to you, one of the straightforward approach that you do is exactly as the name suggests here, contrast stretching. Why don't I stretch this to occupy the entire space? Okay, so currently it is just occupying this region. Shall I put and stretch this image so that it occupies the entire space? So how shall I do that? Very simple, right? You just need to stretch the minimum to 0 and maximum to 255. That's all you need to do. Okay, so how shall I go about do? Simple. So this is your original. Okay, some low value and some high value is your intensity range, but the original expected dynamic range is 0 to 255. Again I am stressing this. If it is an unsigned 8-bit image, its full capability is going from 0 to 255. Okay, if it is not occupying from 0 to 255, you should definitely always do this process of contrast stretching. You stretch your image to the entire dynamic range, otherwise you are really not making use of the full capability. Okay, so full potential, right? The image has a potential of going from 0 to 255, but unfortunately it is going only from L to H. So you should first see the histogram. If it is something like this, you should stretch the image such that it goes from 0 to 255. How do you go about it? I of xy is your original image. So this is the formula for that, right? I of xy minus the lowest value. Okay, so what happens by doing this process? You have a lowest value, you are subtracting it by lowest value, means the lowest value is already stretched to 0, right? And then you divide by the dynamic range of it. Okay, so if you divide by the dynamic range of it, it becomes 0 to 1. Okay, right? This is H minus L, which is the inherent dynamic range of the image. So then low value becomes 0 and high value becomes 1. Okay, and then you multiply by 255, which is the original dynamic range. Okay, so this original dynamic range here I am assuming 255. Okay, So 255, so basically once again I of xy minus L. So this will push the lower value of I of xy to 0. And then you divide that by the dynamic range of it, and then you multiply by 255. So this operation, okay, this operation will normalize the image to go from 0 to 1. And then you multiply by the original dynamic range of the image, you will get the full stretching of the image. And exactly this particular thing gets stretched to 0 to 255. Very, very powerful operation. Again, looks very simple, very trivial, but it's extremely useful. If you want to generalize this formula, let me put in a generic way, okay? So, sorry, okay, write it here. J of xy, okay? So, I want to generalize this. So, lower will be always 0, so I don't care about the lower part. So, let's say the original dynamic range. So, what thing I should use? Maybe let's put this. So this is 0 all the time. This you give some number to it. Let's say d, I mean, some manipulated. So 0 to d is your original range. Here it is 255, but this can be anything, right? If it is an unsigned 16, it will go to 2 raised to 16, right? Minus 1. Okay, so that value. So or let's generalize it that way. Sorry for that. Let me erase all the ins. Let me make it very general, okay? So what is this value? This is always 0. This value is your bit size, right? Let's say your number of bits is n, 2 raised to n. So in this case it is 8 bit, that is why 2 raised to 8 minus 1. Okay, so this is the full range possible for you. N is 8 bit, so 2 raised to 8 is 256 minus 1 is 255. This can be anything, right? You choose your bit size. Now what is the general formula? So j of x comma y is equal to 2 raised to n minus 1, minus 0 actually, but 0 doesn't make any sense, into, right, I, let me remove that I of xy, or let's put it so that it's clear. I of xy, that means each pixel, you need to do this operation for each pixel, minus this L. This L is the lowest intensity which is there in the original image, okay. So minus L, okay, divided by h minus L. So what I am actually saying is this guy, let me change the ink, okay. So this guy will change the range of the image from 0 to 1, and then you multiply by this guy, it will push it to the entire range. So that is the entire contrast stretching operation, and it is a really useful operation. And I always suggest you, just like you get an image, you immediately see the histogram, and if the histogram is not really occupying the full space, okay, full possibility like this, then immediately do contrast stretching and make the image look better, okay. So here also a simple contrast stretching, okay. So I just simply stretch the contrast, whatever is this, use this formula, I just simply stretch the contrast, it started looking really good. And that's very simple, right? I mean, you didn't do anything magic here, you just made the image stretch fully to the full possible dynamic range, and once you do that, the image is really good, and that's what you want to do. And very simple operation, but very useful. So always remember this is like golden rule, right? You take an image, you see the histogram, if it is low contrast, stretch it if it is possible. But we will see case where we can't do this operation really, okay. Okay, so I'm sure you are very thorough with this. Please play with it. I will definitely have the hands on, and then we will play with this. Now this is another interesting, so we'll stop this lecture here, but I want to introduce this problem, okay. So we have an image here, this is a Bay image, okay, and image is generally okay, I don't have any issue, but looks like still I can improve it. So some darkish sort of tint to it, darkish, I use the term darkish. And if I take the histogram, it looks like this, okay. There is some stretching you can do, contrast stretching, there's some gap here and some gap here, but still that won't solve the problem fully, because the image is really concentrated in this region, somewhere around 64, and that is why you see a tint of darkish, a tint of blackish region to it, right? So this part actually, so since this is concentrated in really this region, okay, so this particular region, so my intensities are really concentrated in this region, I need to do what is something known as histogram equalization. The name itself actually gives a hint to it. So instead of having the histogram concentrated at a particular intensity, okay, the number of times, for example, somewhere around this guy, right, 64 maybe, is occurring is much high. So can I distribute it equally? So can I distribute the number of pixels equally along all the intensities? I mean, distribution of intensities equally along all the pixels. I can't do, I mean, my dream is to have a flat line. Okay, so this guy, let me remove all the ink. My dream is to have a flat line like this, but it is not possible, right? Because then that means all the intensities has to be same occurring, and the image will lose its structure, right? That's not possible. But my dream is to actually move to that direction. So how shall I go about it? And that forms the next lecture, which is on histogram equalization. So this one I will stop now. We'll see in the next lecture. Thank you.